All right, everybody. I'm so excited to be with you today. I have two amazing guests with me today. This is Jessica Motter, author of Love Life, Be Life, Share Life podcast and book. I have two amazing guests from Madison, Wisconsin, Brian and Jamie Holmes. Brian and Jamie, we would love to hear about you and your story. I met Brian and Jamie a couple days ago on Zoom. I'm in Kansas City, they're in Madison, Wisconsin area. I actually connected with Brian first through LinkedIn. I had seen his post this post has completely gone viral. He made a post and I'll just let him, I don't want to take away from his story, but I'll let him share what that post said, more about their family, their story, and everything they have going on right now. Here we are 2 days before Christmas. So we're coming to you live. So Brian, you want to start first and introduce you and yourself and Jamie? Tell us more about you.
Brian Holmes. I work in IT. This is my wife, Jamie. But I guess our story, unfortunately, on Tuesday, November 30th, I believe it was. Anyways, 2 days before December, unfortunately lost my job. 2 days later, my wife unfortunately lost her job as well. December can be one of the roughest months to, with the holidays, to try and find a job if you do become unemployed. So things kind of, started off slow. I was starting to get some leads off of my first open to work post. And then when I hit 2 weeks, I decided why not put a post that was a little more personal and really explained our story. Mm-hmm. So I made a post out there. I basically explained how each of us had unfortunately lost our jobs within 2 days apart from each other. Then I stated, this is what I'm looking for. This is my experience. I did the same for my wife. And then basically just concluded it with, if anybody out there could help us in any way, we'd greatly appreciate it. So anything from, an open of a connection to a conversation to reposts of that, original posting, anything could help us. And I expected it would, get definitely some comments and some looks, but it, as they say, went viral, I guess.
Yeah, I think I saw like 19,000 likes or love or whatever, that type, but they like 1,800 comments so far. So that's pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you said, you told me earlier, like you literally could have a full-time job and just answering people's messages on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
all of that.
Yeah, I thought about it. I mean, I could have 10 personal assistants, and I don't know if I'd ever be able to connect and thank everybody. And it's one of those things that I'm a very, sincere person, and I really appreciate all the, comments and impressions people have given, reactions, reposts, all that, given from family, friends, former coworkers to complete strangers. It's pretty amazing. How supportive people can be out there, no matter how much they know you or how little they know you.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Why don't you tell us more about you? So Brian, you want to go first and just tell us where you grew up, what your experience has been work-wise, what you actually want to look at in the future, what your goal is for, what you do in the future for your profession, your occupation, whatever that is.
Okay. If I get too wordy, just cut me off. That's fine.
Yeah, you're good.
So I grew up in Platteville, Wisconsin, in the corner of our state, more rural area. I grew up there, ended up going to college there. I double majored in both business and computer science. We moved to Madison shortly after we had our oldest daughter, who's 20 now. And we've lived in Madison. I've been in IT, like I said, over 20 years. First half of my career was more kind of people-facing positions, systems analyst. And then I would say about 5 years into it, I really kind of missed software development. So I really tried to gear my career back towards a more technical path. So I started to take classes, for some of the different newer languages, that type of thing. And eventually I would say halfway through my career, I got back to being strictly a software developer. The last 3.5 years, I've got more into supporting teams in SharePoint, got into more dealing with customers versus, jumping my feet into code and that. But the last 3.5 years of driving Lyft on a weekend nights, just as, for some extra money, it's really opened my mind to that. I'm more of I don't know if you call it like an IT social bug. So I'm more into people. I'd rather deal with people than code. And so, when you're faced with the unfortunate challenge of becoming unemployed, and especially, this time of year, I made the decision that going forward, I really wanted to get out of software development, even though a lot of my experience, and if you look at my profile, it looks very technical. I think I'm just a better fit for dealing with people. My long-term career goal is to get more into management and leadership. I haven't got my foot in the door with that yet initially, but I am the president for 2 different boards that I volunteer for. And I hope that type of experience, helps me find that next position. So I've talked enough. I'm going to.
Yeah. Now, what are those boards that you do serve on? What are those boards you do serve on?
So I'm the president of our condo association. We've lived here in our condos way too long, 17 years, but the majority of it, I've served as president. Okay. And then the other one is a youth nonprofit for the sport of lacrosse. So basically, we're the parent organization for all the clubs, youth clubs, both boys and girls in the area, in the Madison area. And then we're also in charge of girls' high school. So.
Okay. Did you play lacrosse, or you just have
I
got you into that?
No, my oldest, I mentioned, we have a 20-year-old. We also have another daughter who's 9 years old. The 20-year-old started lacrosse in 5th grade, and I just sat through the practices knowing nothing about it. I coached 2 years, and then when she reached high school, I was like, I'll leave it to the people who really understand the sport, and I'll get more into the administrative end of it. So, she's been out of high school for 2 years, and I still keep up with it. But as she dropped out in 2020, unfortunately lost her senior season, our youngest started the sport. So this will be her 3rd year of lacrosse. So.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Awesome. You guys have like a pretty active family. That's good.
Yeah. Yep.
And you told me that you were helping with the pickleball and basketball stuff at your prior employment. So you like in the social committee. So you sound like you're pretty social.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I when I would sit in my computer science classes, even in college, I was like, all right, who wants to go to happy hour? And everybody looked at me like I was an odd duck or something. So I've always just been a more social person, I guess. It doesn't fit exactly that IT stereotype.
Hey, that's okay.
Yeah. But I really did like that at the last place I worked. I organized 2 days a week where we'd have pickup basketball during lunch. And then I was on our social committees, both for at the corporate level as well as the IT department. So.
Awesome. Yep. Okay, I got a question before we start with Jamie. If time and money weren't an issue, like tomorrow you went to the gas station, you're like, okay, I never played the lottery, but today I'm going to play the lottery. You find out you're like Powerball, whatever it is right now, millions of dollars. What would you do with your time?
If money wasn't a question?
Yeah.
I would live by a beach would be the first thing. I grew up around here, and as I call it, the woodsy type. That's not me. So I'm not into hunting, fishing. I don't do anything that deals with snow, and that's why I live in a condo, so that I can pay somebody to shovel snow, basically. Right. So, I don't know. I've always debated on getting up and telling jokes. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, if I didn't have to worry about money,
right,
and benefits and all that fun stuff with being an adult is, I may explore some other things, that I have interest in. I'm really into fitness, so probably add another hour a day of working out, but the beach would probably be the first goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, do you have any specific health gaps or any health goals you're working on now that you have some more time?
I've always tried to get to my weight of, I didn't mention I was in National Guard when I was in college. And I've always tried to get to my weight of when I went into basic training or came out of basic training, because I gained like 20 pounds or something. But I think I'm like 5 away from that. But it just seems like that 5 that you can never get rid of. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing a little about yourself. Is there anything else you want to share before we go on to Jamie?
No, I've talked enough. I think it's time for my
All right, Jamie. Now you're in the hot seat. Not really the hot seat, but it's your turn. I feel like I didn't get to know you that well the other day, so I'm excited to hear about you. So tell us all about you.
Well, I'm originally from Holmes, Wisconsin, which is up in the La Crosse area. Grew up there literally almost majority of my life, and then my parents moved us further north in Holcomb, Wisconsin, which I know no one ever knows where that is. It's a very small touristy town around a lake, so it's probably about an hour north of Eau Claire. And from there, graduated high school, went on to college. Started out at UW Stout because ever since like 4th grade, I've always been interested in hotels because my family, we did a lot of like traveling, and we would stay at hotels once in a while, and I just thought hotels were amazing and just really cool places. Went there for like a year and a half, realized it was not for me because I wanted to jump right in, both feet first, into all the core stuff. I didn't want to do all the generals that they require at the 4-year colleges. And then I found that at a technical college in Eau Claire, they had a hospitality and tourism program. And so I did the full 2 years there, had an amazing time, met some amazing people. The best thing out of that was my 2nd year, they took us to Vegas, and yeah, it was amazing. We got the behind the scenes tour. So we got to go behind where all the employees would hang out, in those big, huge resorts. And it was just like, to me, that was like amazing. Then fast forward, got in with a company in the Chippewa Falls, Eau Claire area, bounced around a few of their properties, landed in Platteville, Wisconsin, where I then met Brian through some of his roommates. And then got pregnant with our first daughter. And once he graduated, we were going to Madison, so you got to scramble to try to find a job. So I went through a hiring agency, and that's where I started my career in banking. Always tried to get back into hospitality, but as everyone knows, those hours are very demanding, and with a small child and new relationship, it's like I couldn't make that balance. Stuck in banking, I guess you could say, for about 13 years.
Get that.
You're good. You're good. It's family life. This is life, right?
Yes.
Home, being at home. My kids and husband are outside shoveling the snow. I was like, okay, that door's shut for a reason. Anyway, but when it's like both of you are on, hey, totally, I give you guys grace. So everything you do, take care of. Yeah.
So after that job, I was let go. Just had a boss that didn't really care for me at the time, and plus struggling with meeting daily productivity. I'm a very detail-oriented person. I like to do things right the first time. I don't like to make mistakes. So I guess that got the better of me at that job. Plus, when someone doesn't like you, who is in management, they try to find reasons to get you out the door. Was laid off for about a month, and then posted my resume out there. I don't even think I touched LinkedIn at that time. A company, Fairway Mortgage, had reached out to me, and they wanted me, and they created a job for me, and was there ever since then, until obviously now mortgage rates are not our friend. And I was on I say the 3rd wave of people who had to let go because mortgage companies, and I think realtors, anyone dealing with mortgages right now, are just struggling. And now here we are today, and Yeah, LinkedIn is overwhelming.
Well, hopefully with this, it'll make it easier for you.
Yeah.
All right. So how would you describe yourself? I know you said detail oriented. You like to do things the right way first. Are you more of a task person or more of a people person?
People.
People. Yeah. Yeah. And the same question for you. What do you like to do for fun?
Workout.
Workout. Yeah.
I enjoy spending time with family and friends. I ever since COVID, I started buying state park passes, just to get the two girls out hiking and this guy here who doesn't like outdoorsy type stuff. But there's just I've begun to realize that a lot of the state parks that are down here are just very beautiful, and just found some waterfalls, some especially around the Wisconsin Dells area, the different rock formations. It's an awe, and it's kind of like it's very calming and peaceful for me. And I don't know, just being outside brings me together.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of that grounding and everything. Yeah. Because it can be stressful as a mom.
Yeah.
And life and wife and everything, right? Okay, so what would you say for you, Jamie? Time and money weren't an issue. You won the lottery. You didn't have to think about anything, worry about anything that you're probably worried about right now. What would you do?
Definitely move to a beach area. We're on that same page. I would just, I don't know. I love my parents, and my brother have always been there for me through everything. So I would make sure they are financially settled, and just so they can do stuff, so they can travel, and obviously come to visit us at the beach.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, are they in Wisconsin as well?
Yes. We are literally stretched out through the state of Wisconsin. We're down south. My parents are in Eau Claire in the middle, and then my brother's way up north in Hayward.
Now, would he move to the beach too? Or is he
Would, yeah.
Yeah. You're like, hey, okay, we don't have jobs. Like, now is the time for us to move. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously with the real estate market, it's kind of different though, because you're like, yeah, we got to figure that situation out. But yeah, that's really cool. I'm a beach person too. So this cold weather, the snow, all of that, those negative temperatures, chill. I'm definitely like all bundled up as much as I can be. Okay, so we got to hear your story a little bit. Have you guys ever worked together? I mean, obviously at home you work together, but have you guys ever in a job scenario or in a project or the nonprofit stuff you've done, things like that, have you had to work together?
No.
Just
mom and dad team. That's about it.
Mom and dad team. Yeah, I bet you guys are a pretty good team now.
Exercise or cleaning the house, that's about as close to.
Yeah. Do you guys work out together?
No.
I think it's more of just not trying to bump into each other, I mean, we have a decent sized workout room. That was the one piece I didn't get into that was our kind of accomplishment during the pandemic, was to create our own gym after we'd had a membership at a place for 18 years. But
wow.
Yeah, it was I won't get into that story. It's but
well, tell us about this gym, because you sent me a picture. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Home gym. I'm like, holy cow.
So
started with my company.
Yep.
was very into wellness. Like, we had our own gym. We had personal trainers that they had on site for us. And during the pandemic, they wanted to make sure that their employees were staying sane and moving, because at my building, when we would go in, there was like a huge block it was on. So like some of us would go walking, people would work on their lunch breaks. Once a month, we had a masseuse that was on site. So we get massages. So they started offering exercise equipment to all the employees that wanted it. And at first it was, I think we would just pay a certain percentage of the sales tax. And then it's like maybe a month, not even that later, they're like, okay, never mind, we're just gonna cover the whole cost for you. You know, this is yours. So
Wow.
it was like choosing from 5 or 6 different equipment. It was like an arc trainer and comfort bike, a stationary bike, a treadmill.
It was like 4 different pieces.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we picked
Mhm.
out the most expensive one. And all you had to do was basically, make sure you stay within the company at least, I think, a year. In order to be fully covered. If you left prior to that, obviously you'd have to pay a certain percentage for the equipment. But that's kind of how our gym started, was with that. And it's still sitting in our living room. I wanted it in the workout room, but it's a beast.
It's
So
oddly enough, the first thing that kind of started the whole gym is the one thing that's not in the gym. It's a tank of a thing, but it's pretty amazing. And then the luck we've had lately, the battery died on it, I think, today. So
that's the
You're
worst.
like,
just another challenge to deal with,
right, right.
No, it was that, and then how it was so hard in the pandemic to find any kind of workout equipment.
Right.
So it was kind of accumulate this, and then before I know it, I was like, all right, I need to make this sort of into a man cave type thing. And so it has all types of sports stuff in there. That means stuff, the teams we follow. But yeah, it's our escape. And as we've mentioned, both of us are very big into fitness. And so it's so nice that you can go across the hall when it's -11 outside or on a rainy day and just clear your head, because when you're unemployed, I mean, just the mental challenge it is to you, to keep yourself positive and motivated and just knock it down.
Yeah.
I'm sure both of us are in the same boat. We don't feel every day is perfect, but you get in a workout and it's like you're recharged. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And as parents, as spouses, like that mindset, all that mental health stuff. I mean, I know for me, like I had wrapped up my identity into my job. I realized, when I lost my job, that I had so wrapped myself in like who I was defined by my job.
Mhm.
Wait a second. Like I am, whether I have a job or not, like, and I don't know your beliefs, but I know I was created by God. I am a masterpiece. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am positive. I'm uplifting. I can create, I am a creator. I can create what I need. And so I feel like whenever I lost my job, it was like this gut punch, right? Gut punch of like, that I wasn't enough, that there was something wrong with me. Well, guess what? Those things are not true, right? Whether it's a job that you lose because of cutbacks, or it's a job that you lose for other reasons, because, just they didn't agree with your goals. My boss said, our goals no longer aligned. Okay, well, because of that, like whatever it was, it still felt like it was an attack on you personally. And I feel like I became a better person going through that. I don't wish it on anyone, but I felt like it was also a challenge that I had to overcome so that I could realize I was wrapping my identity and my self-worth into me as an employee, as a job. My success was determined by what I had created income in a job, which that we know that's not right. But that mentality of working a job kind of creates that. Like if you have 6 figures, then you're successful. If you don't have 6 figures, then you're not. And I realized the best job that I have, the most important job that I have right now is a parent. Like that's the next generation. Then the day my daughter, we're on Christmas break and she's in 1st grade. We're working on reading. And she's like, why do I have to do homework? It's Christmas break. And I said, I'm helping you with these words because it's going to take 5-10 minutes. this 5 to 10 minutes is going to make a huge impact over your life. And don't do this. Like by the end of Christmas break, you're going to lose this, right? Like you need to develop those muscles, but it's like showing her that, yeah, it's Christmas break, but we still get up and do these things. I started writing, we talked about The Secret one day and the magic. The magic really helped me have gratitude. And in there's even like specific, if you have relationships or things that happen to you, having gratitude around that. Like some people say, getting stopped by, this is one example, getting stopped by the police, it's their fault. They would blame and complain and all of that, right? Justify. But it's like, if you weren't speeding, right, you would not get stopped by the police. Same thing with, your job, right, going away, then, because for me, I mean, I went on unemployment and that takes time. That takes effort, right? Not always the guarantee, because sometimes the employer will deny that claim. So I had denial of the unemployment. So then it took even longer. And for me, I just went straight into entrepreneurship at that point. I already had a side business. But this is kind of where that point was going. I was already on my weekends, on my evenings, creating things for my book and my podcast and all of that. Well, not my podcast yet, because I hadn't even thought about podcasts yet. Because that was 2016. I don't even know people had podcasts, but social media, definitely. So I feel like there was, developing, there's a book, Making Six Figures in 6 Months. That's really good. I started listening to that first. Like that day I lost my job, I was like listening to that. I asked my friend Amy, who was coaching me every day on my way to work. I said, she's created 6 figures ever since she was in her 20s. And I said, okay, so what should I do? Day one. She goes to this book and she sent it to me. I can send it to you guys. It was a free download. But back then I remember even being like, I can't afford to buy books on Amazon. People are buying these books on Amazon. I like literally had to go to the library, rent, get books, right? Podcasts and books. You can do that for free at the library. You don't even have to get books and audiobooks on Amazon. Like you can get them for free. And so I really feel like, looking at, I was already a goal person. Like I thought about goals, like you said, lose 5 pounds, right? Okay, I'm going to lose 5 pounds. If I lose 1 pound a week, 1 pound a day, whatever that number is, how can I do that? And I would reverse engineer it. Lose 5 pounds of what I need to do. I know I need to drink more water. I know I need to work out. But losing pounds isn't always the number you want to look at, because if you're gaining muscle, muscle weighs more than fat. So it's kind of a skewed number, right? So I would say, okay, maybe it's more about gaining muscle and losing fat, how my clothes fit, my waist, looking at that, is it, flabbier than not? And same thing too, like with kids, it's like, okay, if I want to help my daughter be able to read, I know that daily it's going to require, not every day, we miss days, but every day or two, I know she's going to have to start reading books, because she doesn't start reading books, or me, I don't start reading to her, then she's not going to read. Right? Kind of like potty training, right? Remember those days, right? So eventually we all end up potty trained, right? So it's like, I heard something the other day that was like, if you had, I think it's let me go back to my notes here. This was really a crucial thing that I learned a couple of days ago in a training. 0.3% better every day. You got 0.3% better every single day. And you'd be 100% better. The next year it'd be 200%. The next year 400%, then 800, then 1600, then 3200, 6400, and 12,800% better by the 8th year, right? So if you think about that income wise, if you just keep doubling that income, right? I was on a Zoom at 9:30 with a mentor of mine, and Dave he's owned multiple businesses at one time. And he said, he's a serial entrepreneur. And he said, what if you could have a couple $100 a month that you spent on your health, and you created a multiple stream of income? And he goes, my goal next year is to make $1 million in a year. So what if you could create that? And for you, I'm going to be honest with you. I use my phone. Like I don't even use my computer that often. I'm using my computer for this right now. but most of the time I use my phone. And I don't have to leave my house. There's snow outside. It's -5.
Mhm.
Well, it's -10 with the wind chill.
Mhm.
Leave my house and I can do that from home. Does it require some motivation of my own? Yeah, clearly it does. Right? Because like you said, just right now, you're having this mental battle already, right? Because no one's telling you what to do and how to do it. But I started developing a list every single day. So I have my core values. So my first one is my spiritual life. My second one is my health. My third one is my family. My fourth one is time and financial freedom. My fifth one is making a contribution. My sixth one is fun, joy, and laughter. My seventh one is loving, kindness, appreciation of self and others. My next one is personal growth. Then neat, orderly, and organized. So I started like making a list in one of those areas. So like for my health, for my spiritual life, I do a Bible study on my phone, right? Or I listen to something that's spiritual. I pray. For my health, I know it's all about what I eat, how I move my body, right? That helps my mental health. It also helps my physical health.
Mhm.
And, you know, like you said, getting outside. Today, it's not probably going to be a long, walk, but getting outside, getting some fresh air, even if I just sit out there for 5 minutes and breathe in fresh air.
Mhm.
So looking at what you can do. And then some of those days, I'm going to be honest with you, when I first lost my job, I was like, that TV is not even coming on, because that really is an income reducing activity, right? Because that TV will suck your time away. Look at what was productive and what was not productive, right? Even with my kids, like it's 11 o'clock, they have not watched TV yet, right? So what can they do otherwise, right? They have toys. We can move our body. We can, do other things, right? Sugar, same thing. They're like at 10 o'clock, I want sugar, I want candy. And I'm like, it's not even 10 o'clock.
Mhm.
You're addicted to it.
Yeah.
It's like when that clock is 2:30, right? And I just give them a time later in the day. I don't even know what time it is. It's just the time later in the day. But I forgot about it, right?
Mhm.
But we're so conditioned to want these things, when they're addictions like sugar, right? Here we have the holidays, Halloween, sugar, Thanksgiving, sugar, Christmas, sugar, sugar cookies, everything.
It's Wisconsin, it's more alcohol here, but just
Yeah, and
yeah.
alcohol too, right? Like, yeah, all of that, right? And it's so crazy. Yeah, I'm just gonna say, like, I honestly, like, with the pandemic, that's the one thing that I gave up was alcohol. It saves me time, it saves me money, and it saves me my health, because I was trying to do a run one day after I drank like one drink. I'm 41. I'm like, how one drink like make this big of an impact on me trying to run, right? So I said I wanted to do I started training for a half marathon. And so I'm like, but one drink made such a big impact. And I'm like, okay, so you know what? It's just really not worth it. I mostly only do it when I socialize. So I'm not socializing a lot. And so, with the pandemic, nobody was socializing, right? So that's the one thing I gave up. Now, I mean, honestly, like it helped me lose weight too, because there's a lot of calories in that. I'm
Mhm.
not saying you have to give up alcohol, but I'm just saying like,
I actually haven't had a drink since the day I lost my job. I
there
just
you
kind
go.
of as a goal for myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, another thing, alcohol is more of a thing of Wisconsin, I guess. But the thing I try to tell people is like, if you don't have a reason, like you're not with other people, just don't have it be a normal part of your day. Like, you know what I mean? Unless you're with family or friends or having some kind of social activity, you don't need it,
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Like, it's especially from, you think about your situation right now, like you don't want it to become a depressive thing, right?
Yeah.
And, like you said, your mind it's already a battle anyway. There's a book called Winning the War in Your Mind.
Mhm.
It's by a pastor, but he does an amazing job. The Life Church, I think it's Life Church, but Winning the War in Your Mind. That was a big book for me, because I was creating a lot of sabotage in my life for myself. And I feel like there's some principles in, childhood you learn,
Mhm.
and losing your job, a big step in those, because if you have some money mindset things as well, that comes up big time, right? And that scarcity mindset versus an abundance mindset. And, it's just really, it's a hard place to be. But I realized there was a lot of money mindset things I had to work on too, and just relationships. And obviously you want the situation to, think about what you want the outcome to be. 3 months and 1 month. And, because 3 months sounds like a long time away, probably right now. 1 month, 1 week. What do you want the outcome to be? Right. And, you personally, but also your relationship, because times of stress, right, it's going to also be a big thing for, I know for my husband, like when I lost my job, he's like, okay, so what are you going to do? And I'm like, what do you mean? What am I going to do? I'm going to start my business. Like, no better time than now. And he's like, what do you mean? And so like, we had to have that conversation. Okay. So, but you know what? Like God has blessed us. Like he's continued to get raises and raises and raises and raises.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, everybody's got a different scenario. I mean, obviously we had really young kids whenever that was happening. So it's a totally different situation than you. But this is the time right now to look at and reflect on where you really want your life to go. Because you really are, creating your life for your future. Right. And like you said, be someplace warm, like get someplace warm. Like, I'm hopefully you're looking at places in warmer climates too for jobs, because now's the time, right? No better time than now.
Mhm.
Hey, I got my job here. I can't leave. Right. And your family will come visit. They'll be excited to come visit.
Yeah.
I had a contact yesterday that they said they worked in San Diego, and my eyes just went, been there once, and in 14 days I was there. This was when I was in the National Guard in college. I saw clouds one day and I was like, this is the greatest place ever. I should live here.
Yeah. Ever heard of Eric Thomas? No, so he's a motivational speaker. You can look him up on YouTube. I listen to him like every day now. But he helps to get you up and get you going, motivation for workouts or whatever. But he actually, his wife had MS. And so he looked at all the places in the country where the temperature was a certain degree. And, like you said, sunshine and all of that, all these things that she needed for her body to do well. And so San Diego, California was that for her. So there's a lot of science to that too. So yeah, it's a very happy place. Yeah, Florida. And I used to want to move to Florida myself. So I was single at the time, and I was like, if I'm not in a serious relationship or married by the time I think I said 34. And right before that, my husband and I started dating. It was like August 12th. We went to the Chiefs game. For the first time we've been working together. And so we went to the Chiefs game. And that's kind of when everything started, our relationship started from that point on. My birthday's in September. So it was like literally right before that. I'm like, there was a lot of purpose in that. So.
Did you ask him what he thought of Florida when you first met him? Or?
It's funny because now we travel a lot. And so we like the beach too. And also I've earned like 4 trips with my company. So, will work for beach trips. Like some people are like, I want this, amount of income. And I'm like, I just want them trips.
There you go.
So, he was joking one day, and, we were talking about like where you'd want to go if you had, all the time and all the money. Right. And he said Florida as well. So we both said Florida.
Perfect match.
Yeah. Yeah. So we just have, like you guys, aging parents. So, it's like, okay, would everybody come with us, or would they just stay? And we have a lot of support too with grandparents helping with the girls. So
that's cool.
Anyway, when I travel and do things, they help out a lot. So yeah. Anything else you guys want to share before we end our interview today?
I guess, I don't know, the biggest things I've learned from unemployment, the 2 things are, some people might look at it when you don't have a job, you have extra time. But to me, it's like, if you're really motivated to get, back employed or to start your own business, whatever your motivation may be, it's probably an even better time to make the best use of your time, So it's not just staying busy. It's like the things you choose to do, is that getting you closer to your goal, versus doing something else. And then the other thing I've found is just don't get overwhelmed with things that are out of your control. Only focus on those things that you have control over, that can change your your situation. So I try to kind of go off of those two things, and I put health and sleep are the two. Health and sleep are kind of my two main focuses that keep me mentally focused and positive, so
Yeah.
those are the two things I've taken out of this experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are great. Thank you for sharing those, for
Oh,
sure. What about you, Jamie?
I'm every day just waking up and being grateful and just staying positive. That first day when I got let go, I admit I turned on the TV, but it's Christmas, so Hallmark.
Yeah.
And just sitting there, it's like all of a sudden it just hit me, and that little voice of negativity started to creep in. And I've read The Secret multiple times. My brother went through some stuff, and he helped me see, like, work on myself as well, just to be positive and look at positive things. So just having a positive mindset as soon as I get up in the morning and my head hits that pillow, it's helped a lot, because that negativity can creep up on you just like that. And some people don't have the willpower to control it as I could. Basically, I told negativity no.
I love it.
Meditating. I love to meditate at night. It just, even now, my brain is just going 100 miles a minute. It's hard to get it to shut down and get that good sleep, so I can wake up refreshed in the next day. And it's positivity is huge for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I love that you guys shared that, because I feel like your mindset, the positivity in your relationship, and just the whole situation and the time. I mean, it's like, here we are, Christmas 2 days away. This could be a really dark time for you guys, but you guys are making the most of it. And you guys are, that's really going to have a big impact, for your kids too, because there's how did my mom and dad, this thing happen, but how did they react to it? And I'm sure this is how you guys handle things anyway, right? It's not the first time something's happened. It won't be the last time either. Like they always say, like, new level, new devil. The challenges are going to come in different ways. And they come in waves. And, it's like, sometimes like, how much can I handle? And it's like, you're only going to be given what you can handle, they say. But sometimes it's like, I can't handle anymore. Stop. But I also feel like with that secret, like you were saying, it's like what you think about, you attract. Right. So when you're looking at, all of that, it's just about that attraction, and the magic really helps that. Like, I mean, it's so interesting how I think about this, but, like I literally, with the magic and the secret, like I think about what I attracted. Like I was attracting to lose my job because I so bad wanted to stay home with my daughter. Right. So I was attracting that into my life. Did I think that's how it was going to happen? No. I knew that what my values were. And when my boss said, this is no longer aligning with, our goals are no longer aligning. Well, because I had goals to put my family, just like I said, my values, my family was ahead of my work. My family is always ahead of that.
That's good.
So, I feel like, looking at the future, it's like, look at those values and I can send them to you, but look, like you can rate them on your own personal, like what you want to be the first one and what you want to be the second, and on down the line. So you can look at that, and that really helps me too, because especially as spouses, my husband's very detail oriented. I'm very detail oriented. Obviously, different life happens, and that neat, orderly, and organized is really on the top of his list. For me, it's not anymore. Like I had to let go of that, because with small kids, like you just can't have everything perfect. So like, but I realized that when he's like saying, hey, I need help with this. And I'm like, but my first thing is my health. So I'm going to work out first. If the laundry's done, I'm working out first. Right. And so right. But you don't understand that with couples, because you have different values and different order of the values. And so like, it's interesting to, the personalities too. I don't know if you guys have studied the personalities, like red or D, like DISC, DISC.
Oh, yeah. I've done that.
I did that for my job.
I was Up at the top in the middle of the top two, at the very top.
So like the GI?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the disc thing.
Yeah. So
Very
like I
top,
thought, I
right in
wrote down
between.
those. I would say you're more of like a white yellow with that detailed, and then yellow because you were saying beach and like saying all your social stuff. And what would you say?
I'm the red. I know that was the
Red?
one. And I'm a person who's sincere and humble at the same time. Like I'm
Yeah.
not aggressive. Like
Yeah.
I won't say 4-letter words, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. What about for you, Jamie? Do you remember what colors you were?
I don't remember what I was, but I know it had something to be with like detailed and I think humble. I just, yeah, I don't remember. I don't try a lot not to let a lot of things bother me. I've learned
Yeah.
recently as I got older that you just kind of need to let things brush it off. It's just
Yeah.
not worth the
Can't please
stress.
everybody.
Yeah, can't please everybody.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also thought maybe you're a little bit of a blue too, because you're talking about your parents and your brother and things like that. So family, that type of thing too. So yeah, you guys have great hearts, it sounds like, and are just great couple, just a great couple too. So I'm so blessed that we got to meet and talk today. We'll post up your contact information and I'll get with you on that, what you want to share, so that if anybody has any opportunity to share with you, they can contact you directly. But I'm so excited for you guys. And I know that there's a great opportunity that all the things that you've ever wanted in your life are going to come true. And, I'm always that, dreams do come true. And also the person that says no dream left behind. So I hope you guys have an amazing day, and we'll end the recording now.
Thank you, Jessica.
you.